Strike pull side guard dog unit at 38 meters and keep pressing the objective. You drive a pressurized chlorine burst straight into the nearer hound's chassis at 38 meters. The caustic stream shreds its joint housing and the unit collapses in a hissing, corroded heap. The second dog surges to close the gap. Chrome flanks, already weeping green residue from last round's splash. You hold your ground and let the corrosion do its work, bleeding it down as you press the foothold. Strike pull side guard dog unit at 22 meters and keep pressing the objective. You level the chlorine injection wand and blast a pressurized caustic stream into the guard dog unit at 22 meters. Corroded joints seize, chassis splits, the hound collapses in a hissing chrome heap. Chemical residue keeps burning through its frame as it goes still. Sun deck is quiet now. The foothold is yours. Push hard to topiary garden maze and strike anything in the way. SKIM-LEAD vaults the pool deck railing and cuts hard through the estate's south lawn, boots crunching wet grass as the noon heat shimmers off manicured hedgerows ahead. A lone off-duty security grunt steps from behind a marble fountain and catches a chlorine burst mid-chest. Armor fizzes, flesh follows, and he folds into the topiary shadow. The chemical overflow hazard still bleeds corrosive vapor. Strike estate attack drone at 72 meters and push forward hard. You swing the chlorine injection wand skyward and hose the hovering estate attack drone at 72 meters. Mid-range is a stretch, but the pressurized stream catches its rotors and corrodes the chassis mid-flight. It spins, sparking, and drops into the hedgerow. Chemical residue clings to its casing as it smolders. You push hard through the estate's south lawn, closing distance to the topiary maze entrance. Push hard to topiary garden maze and strike anything in the way. Strike catering staff and enforcer at 55 meters and push forward hard. In the way. Strike catering staff enforcer at 55 meters and push forward hard. Push hard to topiary garden maze and strike anything in the way. Strike catering staff enforcer at 55 meters and push forward hard. Push hard to topiary garden maze and strike anything in the way. Strike catering staff enforcer at 55 meters and push forward hard. Push hard to topiary garden maze and strike anything in the way. Strike catering staff enforcer at 55 meters and push forward hard. Push hard to topiary garden maze and strike anything in the way. Strike catering staff enforcer at 55 meters and push forward hard. Push hard to topiary garden maze and strike. SKIM-LEAD sprints across sun-bleached Bel-Air estate grounds past sculpted topiaries, caustic chlorine vapor still rising from a downed drone sparking in the manicured hedgerow, the dark mouth of the garden maze. Advance and push forward toward the objective, staying aggressive. You push SKIM-LEAD hard through the sculpted hedgerow corridor, chlorine 1 primed. The catering staff enforcer ahead catches a pressurized burst square in the chest, corrosive concentrate eating through his jacket as he staggers. Two more figures peel out of the topiary shadows flanking your advance, a drone buzzing low and a topiary sentinel bleeding sap from a half-revealed perch in the boxwood wall. The maze entrance is close. Keep moving. Strike topiary sentinel at 18 meters and push forward hard. You torch the sentinel at point blank with the wand. Pressurized chlorine shreds its fibrous camouflage mass in a hiss of green mist and dissolving mulch, the thing collapsing into a smoking pile of hedge. Chemical residue bleeds into the catering staff enforcer still stumbling at your 5, and you shove hard north through the maze corridor, closing ground on the objective. The estate attack drone banks overhead, tracking. Strike catering staff enforcer at 18 meters and keep pressing the objective. You level the chlorine injection wand and pump 2 bursts into the catering staff enforcer at 18 meters. The caustic concentrate hits exposed skin and uniform fabric, eating through both as the target collapses in a hissing heap. Chemical residue keeps working. You push north through the hedge corridor, closing on the objective relay. Strike estate attack drone at 32 meters and keep pressing the objective. Your wand's bone dry. You swap to the telescopic skimmer net and whip a snaring mesh burst at the estate attack drone, the nylon lattice wrapping its rotors and dragging it into a spiraling crash through the trimmed hedgerow at 32 meters. The topiary sentinels ahead are still breathing chlorine-tainted air, fibrous limbs coiling in the corridor shadows. Keep the pressure on. Objective zone is right on top of you. Push another 15 meters and you own the maze. Strike topiary sentinel at 22 meters and keep pressing the objective. You crack the telescopic skimmer net at the near sentinel. Nylon mesh wraps its fibrous mass, dragging it into the open where afternoon chlorine residue keeps eating through the stalk flesh. The plant thing shudders and collapses, corrosion finishing the job. 32 meters to the pool house objective. One sentinel still lurks in the far archway and a catering staff enforcer is cutting across the marble from the west. Strike topiary sentinel at 32 meters and keep pressing the objective. You snap the telescopic skimmer net forward. A whipping arc of nylon mesh erupts from the hedge, wrapping the sentinel tight and dragging its fibrous mass into the open. Chemical residue from last round eats into the exposed root fibers. The sculpted shrub creature shudders and collapses into a steaming pile of corrosive mulch. You press north, boots cracking over manicured gravel, the catering staff enforcer still closing hard from your 9. Strike catering staff enforcer at 44 meters and keep pressing the objective. You crack the telescopic skimmer net sideways. The nylon mesh catches the catering staff enforcer mid-sprint, yanking the silver tray out of the grip and slamming them face first into the topiary hedge at 44 meters. Chemical residue from prior contact bites into exposed skin. They crumple, corroded and tangled. You press forward through sculpted archways, the pool house shimmer growing closer. Strike topiary sentinel at 50 meters and keep pressing the objective. You whip the telescopic skimmer net in a long lateral arc. The corrosive mesh slaps the topiary sentinel's fibrous camouflage, stripping hedgerow cover and coating its root mass in caustic nylon residue. Chemical residue kicks in immediately, eating through the plant tissue. The sentinel convulses and collapses in a smoldering green heap. SKIM-LEAD pushes north into the final corridor stretch. Pool house, glass catching white afternoon sun dead ahead. Strike a state attack drone at 52 meters and keep pressing the objective. You snap the telescopic skimmer net skyward. The whipping mesh catches the estate attack drone's rotor array at 52 meters and yanks it into a corkscrewing dive. It clips the topiary arch and detonates against the manicured hedge in a shower of sparks and carbon fiber. Net reloaded, you press through the ornate archway, the pool house turquoise glinting closer through sculpted yew. Push hard to pool house interior and strike anything in the way. You drive SKIM-LEAD hard through the final hedge corridor, telescopic net cracking against a pair of estate attack drones that strafe from the topiary canopy. Snared mid-hover, they spiral into the sculpted walls and detonate in sparking heaps. The pool house facade is now dead ahead. Marble columns catching the afternoon glare, the ornate double doors slightly ajar. Avoid the chemical overflow hazard and secure pool house interior. Strike chemical overflow hazard at 88 meters and push forward hard. Avoid the chemical overflow hazard and secure pool house interior. Strike chemical overflow hazard at 88 meters and push forward hard. Avoid the chemical overflow hazard and secure pool house interior. Strike chemical overflow hazard at 88 meters and push forward hard. Avoid the chemical overflow hazard and secure pool house interior. Strike chemical overflow hazard at 88 meters and push forward hard. Avoid the chemical overflow hazard and secure pool house interior. Strike through the desperate suitor pack and hold first impressions terrace. You sweep the super swipe volley across the three-suitor cluster. Rapid data streams shred their action cues, suits wilting under algorithmic rejection before they can close distance. Two go down hard. The third staggers back, self-doubt cascading through his system as your heartbreak analytics passive fires on his whiff. First impressions terrace holds. For now. Strike match timer bomb at 28 meters and keep pressing the objective. You pivot hard on the nearest match timer bomb at 28 meters. The super swipe volley shreds it in a burst of data stream fire, countdown hearts shattering into confetti ash before it can drain your defenses. The wounded suitor at 38 meters catches the spray and crumples, his cologne bottle hitting the tiles. You press forward, closing ground on the second bomb while the surviving suitor scrambles to reposition. Strike match timer bomb at 30 meters and keep pressing the objective. You level the super swipe volley and hammer the match timer bomb with a concentrated data stream burst. The countdown face shatters in a shower of pink sparks, diffused cold. The desperate suitor at your 2 o'clock closes the gap. Love bomb primed, but your rapid-fire volley catches him mid-lunge and drains his action Q to 0 before he can detonate. Push hard to neon-drenched swipe app match and strike anything in the way. Your operator vaults the terrace railing and cuts hard across the neon-slicked connector bridge toward the swipe floor, heels clicking a war rhythm on the light strip tiles. A pair of ghosting bots flicker into existence off the left flank, stragglers from stage 1 bleed, not the main force. Super swipe volley tags both mid-cycle before they can phase, draining their Qs and dropping them before they ghost out. Advance and strike everything in your path. Your operator vaults over a shattered banner strut, super swipe volley hosing down the corridor ahead. The 2 ghosting bots dissolve to nothing in bursts of corrupted pixel static. The bridge groans under your boots as you push hard toward the swipe floor's neon glow, closing distance fast. Stragglers blip at the edge of sensors. The main composition is holding at the floor, waiting. Push hard to neon-drenched swipe app match and strike anything in the way. Your operator hammers the super swipe volley into the two active ghosting bots ahead. Rapid data streams rip through their phase cycles mid-vanish, shredding both contacts before they can ghost out. Bridge clears. The swipe floor objective marker burns pink at 47 meters and closing fast. Sweet neon-drenched swipe app match for strugglers and lock it down. You fan the super swipe volley across the swipe floor in a wide data stream arc. Two rival influences caught mid-buff dissolve in a cascade of shredded charisma packets, and a cluster of rejection spike nodes flicker red before you blast the first one apart with a precision secondary burst. The neon grid hums with dying signal noise. The floor is almost yours. One rejection spike and a trailing ghosting bot are still hot on the eastern ad banner wall. Strike ghosting body at 38 meters and keep pressing the objective. You pivot east and light up ghosting body with a full super swipe volley burst. Rapid violet data streams slam it mid-cycle before it can phase out, deleting its action queue entirely. It shatters into a cascade of unread message notifications. Rejection spike B is still hot at 60 degrees. You're pressing forward to finish the nodes. Blast rejection spike B at 28 meters and keep pressing the objective. You level the super swipe volley at rejection spike B, mid-range, perfect match, and dump a burst of violet data streams straight into its metric core. The node shrieks with cascading error notifications and detonates in a shower of shattered neon hearts, leaving a scorch of unmatched profiles on the floor. Rival influences C and ghosting bot F closing, but rejection spike C is the priority and it's already in your sights. Strike rejection spike C at 32 meters and keep pressing the objective. You swing the super swipe volley up, bone dry, 0 ammo. So you pivot hard to the Valentine confetti flash and unload a close detonation burst at rejection spike C, 32 meters out on the starboard flank. The tiles. Rival influences C and ghosting bot FE peripheral frag and stagger, their charisma auras flickering. Strike rival influences C at 38 meters and keep pressing the objective. You call the shot. Valentine confetti flash swings on rival influences C at 38 meters, a tight crimson burst of foil microshards slamming her square in the face and shredding her remaining HP. She staggers back into a rejection spike node, her charisma aura sputtering out in a shower of pink static. Ghosting bot F tries to phase shift, but you're already pressing forward, closing the gap toward the last spike cluster. Strike ghosting bot F at 35 meters and keep pressing the objective. You pivot mid-stride and swing the Valentine confetti flash toward ghosting bot F at 35 meters, close enough for the microshards to punch clean through its phasing coil, dropping it before it can vanish. Heartbreak Analytics clocks the kill. One less interruption on the floor. Rejection spike D is close enough to be a problem. You close the gap to the node, rival influencer D advancing from 270. Strike rejection spike D at 28 meters and keep pressing the objective. You level the Valentine confetti flash at rejection spike D, 28 meters, dead inside close range, and detonate a blinding red foil burst that shreds the node's metric housing apart in a shower of sparks and crushed data hearts. Node D goes dark. Rival influencer D catches the edge of the blast and staggers, losing her footing on the heart tile floor. Heartbreak Analytics registers her stumble as a self-doubt cascade, costing her next action. Strike rejection spike E at 32 meters and keep pressing the objective. You level the Valentine confetti flash and squeeze off a burst. Red foil microshards detonate across rejection spike E's chassis at 32 meters, well within the secondary's sweet spot. The node's metric core fractures, sparks cascade pink and gold, and the spike collapses into a shower of scorched circuitry. Rival influencer D is still in the corridor at your 9, buffing the air where the node used to be. She's exposed and furious. Strike rival influencer D at 40 meters and keep pressing the objective. You swing the Valentine confetti flash on rival influencer D at 40 meters. Close enough for the blinding foil burst to shred her charisma aura and drop her cold before she can feed another buff into rejection spike F. Ghosting bot face is half out in response, stuttering at the edge of sensor range. One spike node and a bot left before this floor goes. Incinerate ghosting botter at 55 meters and keep pressing the objective. You swing the super swipe volley up and spray a torrent of rapid data streams at ghosting botter, 55 meters out, mid-range sweet spot, exact. The ghosting bot's phase cycle is caught mid-flicker. The action drain hits it full force and it shatters in a burst of static parts and corrupted match data. Rejection spike F still. Strike meters and keep pressing the objective. Primaries dry. You rack the Valentine confetti flash and tag rejection spike F at 65 meters with a blinding red foil burst. The node fractures, sparks a cascade of broken hot pixels, and goes dark. Rival influencer E and ghosting bot B are still in the corridor, closing fast. Strike rival influencer E at 65 meters and keep pressing the objective. Valentine confetti flash is bone dry. 65 meters stretch. Rapid data streams hammering rival influence to E mid charisma strut. The algorithmic broadside shreds her aura generator and drops her in a cascade of corrupted heart pixels. Ghosting bot B is your next problem. Still in phase. Strike ghosting bot B at 70 meters and you switch firing cadence mid-stride. Super swipe volley is dry, so you snap to the Valentine confetti flash and unload a blinding red foil burst at ghosting bot B before it can phase. The micro shards shatter its cloaking lens mid-cycle, and the bot collapses in a cascade of broken ghost protocols and corrupted CNET timestamps. With both influence E and spike F already dark, the swipe floor's first node cluster is fully dismantled, objective locked. Push hard to perfume fogged VIP lounge co and strike anything in the way. Your operator surges northwest across the strobing corridor, neon tiles slicking underfoot as the Valentine confetti flash runs dry. You swap to the super swipe volley and rake incoming data streams through the perfume haze. Two ghosting bots phase in from the VIP lounge approach and catch a full mid-range volley before they can cycle out. One crumpling mid-vanish. You're closing hard on the objective, 90 meters and closing. Strike ghosting bot D at 55 meters and keep pressing the objective. Your super swipe volley mag reads empty. You're dry. You draw Valentine confetti flash blast ghosting body point blank with a blinding red foil burst. The unit fragments mid-phase, translucent shards scattering across the neon tiles. U-heat presses in from the VIP lounge spawn point. Strike through the toxic charmer A-pack and hold perfume fogged VIP lounge co. You switch to super swipe volley and unleash a torrent of rapid data streams into the toxic charmer cluster. The mid-range volley tears through all three before their charm stacks can cascade. The corridor reeks of synthetic rose and scorched circuitry as charmers A. Ghosting body at the far end and both matched timer bombs are your next problem. The bombs are counting loud. Strike matched. Super swipe volley is dry. You swap to Valentine confetti flash and close the gap fast, unloading blinding red foil shards point blank into match timer bomb A. The note shatters in a burst of sparkling countdown confetti, countdown silenced. Ghosting body flickers at the edge of your sensor cone. It's mid-cycle, visible, and you've got half a mag left. Strike match timer bomb B at 52 meters and keep pressing the objective. Valentine confetti flash is dry. You slam the super swipe volley online and unleash a mid-range data stream burst at match timer bomb B, 52 meters down the corridor. The rapid swipe packets shred its countdown casing and it detonates in a harmless cascade of broken hearts and glitter. Ghosting body is you press the advance. Strike ghosting body at 38 meters and keep pressing the objective. Super swipe volley is dry. You pivot to Valentine confetti flash and unload a blinding burst of red foil micro shards into ghosting body at 38 meters mid-phase before it can vanish. The bot stutters, shards punching through its stealth matrix, and it collapses in a cascade of corrupted matchmaking data. Corridor ahead, clear. Push hard to giant holographic leaderboard and strike anything in the way. You push the matchmaker hard through the strobing mech underscore yard corridors toward the pit. 175 meters of neon-drenched hellway collapses to under 90 as your operator eats ground fast. Two ghosting bots phase flicker out of maintenance alcoves mid-transit, buying time for the bosses ahead. Super swipe volley chews through them before they can ghost cycle. The leaderboard glow of the underscore pit crests the next corner. You're almost on threshold. Focus everything on the heartbreak algorithm. Trigger unstoppable romance algorithm. Strike it and finish the kill. You trigger unstoppable romance algorithm. The MATCHMAKER's social calculations hit perfect cadence, doubling all enemy ability costs as waves of algorithmic confidence radiate outward. Super swipe volley is dry, so you close mid-range and unleash the Valentine confetti flash point blank into the heartbreak algorithm's phase cycling core, shattering its infatuation buffer. Then follow through with awkward icebreaker execution right at the phase transition, purging its accumulated action stack and crashing it to zero. The rogue matchmaking AI detonates in a cascade of corrupted compatibility scores and shredded match history data. Focus everything on the Casanova Prime. Trigger unstoppable romance algorithm. Strike it and finish the kill. You activate unstoppable romance algorithm. Casanova Prime's clone split tactic stutters as his action costs double, his charisma cascade collapsing mid-execution. You switch to super swipe volley and hammer the real Casanova with a punishing data stream broadside, burning through his remaining HP while the rival influences scramble without their buff anchor. Casanova Prime staggers, his leaderboard avatar pixelating and fragmenting as the arena erupts in broken heart confetti. The kill is clean. Mission complete. Adrenaline standing down. Outstanding work, operator.